Are you about to watch this video and you're not liked and subscribed to it? Like the video, please. Just go down. It's right there. It's right there.
I did. I hit it. I hit it. Have you hit it?
So we've had a week of the foreign substance checks, and some of them. So I've gone back and forth about how I feel about this, and I think I've decided where I land, and it's with the Shohei Ohtanis of the world, where like just give them your cap and your glove and your belt and do it with a smile. I mean, these guys are just doing their jobs. Like, I think some of these guys at first, like their first ever checks, they were like taking it personally. They were like, "Oh, you want to check me? You're gonna fucking check me right now? Here, I'll drop my pants." Like, "Oh, you think I'm fucking cheating?" It's like, no. Come on. Like, everyone's getting checked, man. Like, come on. Like, don't throw the fucking temper tantrum. Just like Shohei Ohtani pitches an inning, comes off the mound. He's like, "Oh yeah, here you go. Here.
Who threw the temper tantrum?
I think Sergio Romo didn't handle it the best.
Sure.
Max Scherzer, I understood why he was upset when Joe Girardi like accused him, but he also didn't handle it gracefully when he was randomly getting checked the first couple of times. Like, I understand it's frustrating to get checked multiple times, but the first time he ever got checked, he wasn't super polite about it.
Well, he just had he was like,
but that's like, compare that to what Shohei Ohtani's check looked like, and you're like, these guys are just doing their jobs. Like, these are the rules, man.
You're absolutely right, and I said this on the broadcast last night. The umpires have been put in an impossible position. Who's harder on umpires, bro? Like, I hammer these guys. I tell them at every opportunity, the fucking robots are coming. The robots are coming, and I can easily acknowledge how difficult of a spot these guys have been put in. All right, they don't want to be looking for this shit any more than they don't want to find anything either. I promise you that, because if that happens, then what happens? Oh, you guys found one. That's all you found was one. So we ask you to do your job, and you can't even do that correctly. So it's almost better that they just don't ever find anything and tell you that they've done their job as best as they could possibly have done. And then we figure out a way to move on from this in the offseason. Not move on, but move on in a way where we've got control of this. And I said this like after day one, I think I sent out a tweet. Day one assessment, it does nothing to hinder the game speed. They found a point in time where they could check the pitcher. We still haven't addressed what's going to happen if the pitcher comes off the mound and is checked and actually does have something. Like, we haven't addressed that other than what the player is going to endure, which is a paid suspension. So we still have to talk about what happens to those runs.
Why is it
that
paid,
score.
by the way?
I think because there's still room for there's still that gray area. Like, well, hey, you know what? My catcher may have loaded up there and whatever. So go check him. And then the catcher doesn't have it on his hands, but it's on the ball, but the pitcher doesn't have it on his hands. So where'd it come from? Like, who are you going to hammer for that? If you're suspending the pitcher, like, you know what I mean? It just feels like there's not a place to pin it down on definitively so that we can start taking money. And I believe also, Jared, in my heart of hearts, the reason why there's no money being taken here is because that's MLB's way of saying, look,
let's go into labor negotiations.
Well, we kind of told you that we weren't going to do this anyway in the first place. Like, we told you, have no fear of retribution. And now here we are telling you we're coming after you. So in the spirit of good faith, right, guys? In the spirit of good faith, we're not going to take your money, but you are going to get suspended.
Mm-hmm.
And
which is crazy, yeah.
I think that's honestly part of it.
We saw one instance with Diego Castilla where they made him switch his hat.
Yep. Just because of the...
It's Castillo or Castilla? Castillo?
Diego Castillo.
Yeah. He had to switch his hat. And I didn't hear anything after that, but they and like, so it's one of the points that you've made a bunch of times. Like, how do you make the game better? You got to mic up these umpires. Like, how the fuck do we know what just happened? You just
Well,
made
this
him
is-
switch his hat. What'd you find?
Well, listen, Jared, and this goes back to the culture. All right, think about the exchange with Terry Collins and
Yeah.
Oh fuck, who was that? Was that Dan Is? No, that wasn't Dan Iasonia. But anyway, that exchange. Hey, our ass is in the jackpot here. Like that level, okay? When they're explaining to each other, hey, Terry, you had your shot. You had your shot. And Terry's going, well, I want another one. I want like that. Think about that level of understanding. In the heat of the moment, there's a level of understanding between the umpire and the manager of a team that somebody's getting thrown at. Like we're not even arguing about that. There's a level of understanding that was going to happen. What we're talking about now is that it didn't happen the way we know it should have happened. And since that didn't happen and it turned out like this, well, now we got to do something, Terry. Fuck, you know that and I know that. There's a level of just wink, wink, nod, nod that's gone on in the game for so long. Fans might not be aware of the level of it. And that's just seriously think about that. You got an umpire and a manager arguing about who's getting thrown at and why. No, it's about not getting him and what it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, how did you feel watching some of these react? Like, how did you feel?
So the Romo thing, you
Case
always
by
got to
case.
remember. Like,
Not
what
even
if you
Romo.
like?
Talk Scherzer first. Like, how did you feel about his first reaction? And like, I think we all understand the frustration when Joe Girardi's like, check his hair, check it. It's like, all right.
Sure. Well,
I
let's
get
start. Let's start with reaction number one. First check. He's irritated, frustrated, grinded, because he's a competitor, go-getter, blah 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 blah. But he's also somebody who had his name thrown about, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a level of fuck. Here we go. All right, let's just get through this. That he's also considering. So that's reaction number one, which is understandable. And to your point, it's not a Romo level reaction. All right, but we'll get to that. So check number two. Well, bro, it's not even the fifth inning yet. Like I've pitched, and you checked me, and now I've thrown a couple more innings, and now you're checking me again. Like, when is this how this is going to go? When is this going to stop? Like, how many of these are there? Like, what the fuck is going on?
I
So
didn't like
that's
how they're like throwing their glove at the umpire's feet. Like, pick that shit up, motherfucker. It's like we don't need like Wally Backman situation.
And you're also, you are correct there. There's a level of but again,
It's not
like,
the
especially-
umpires that are saying like, "Hey, we're going
Right.
to start cracking down." Like they're
But
just
Jared-
being told this is now part of your job.
But in a player's mind, the umpire is sort
the
of viewed
enemy.
as the henchman from the
Yeah.
commissioner. Like, I know who you're, a fucking foot soldier. All right, Shredder sent you here, and you're a fucking foot soldier. I got you. So you want me to be nice to you? You want me to make friends with one of the foot soldiers? No. Here's my fucking glove. And that's the thought. Okay, I'm not telling you that that's okay. Please understand that. I'm just telling you that that's kind of the thought. And in the heat of battle, you're trying to like compartmentalize that thought with trying to shove it up somebody's ass at the plate. Like, oh fuck, there's a lot of emotion here right now. Like that Scherzer specifically was dealing with. Again, name being thrown about, the competitor that he is, the second check before the fifth inning. All of that is piling on for Scherzer. And then it overflows with Girardi and check his hair. Now, seriously, bro, is that something that you would think we would see in the year of our Lord 2021? Alfonso Marquez rolling and rubbing his fingers through Max Scherzer's fucking sweaty ass hair in the. I mean, what?
Yeah.
What?
It's a goddamn circus.
And that's where Girardi is like. Look, he got what he had coming to him. One way or the other, he got what he had coming to him. Getting ran. Because now Scherzer's telling him, fuck you. Got nothing on my hands, nothing on my glove. Kiss my ass. You want to feel my hair? Fucking shave my head and shove it up your ass. I don't care. And then he's chirping at Kevin Long. Like, think about where that went. Joe Girardi ran out of the dugout and challenged his ex-hitting coach to a fucking fight on a baseball field after Max Scherzer just had his hair with fingers ran
Massaged.
through it by an umpire.
He had a goddamn Pert Plus commercial happen in the middle of the fucking
For fuck's
field.
sake. Alfonso Marquez is checking Max for lice, and now Joe Girardi wants to fight the other team's hitting coach because he had Max checked. What?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, but to your point about like Scherzer being a competitor, like that doesn't quite cover it. Like he is probably. Would you say he's the most intense competitor in Major League Baseball right now? Like on start day, who's more intense and focused and like geared up than Max Scherzer?
Another name comes to mind, Giolito.
I wouldn't even put them in. I wouldn't put them in the same tier. Like in the playoffs last year, we were talking about Giolito and like his psycho face that he had going, but that was the playoffs. Like that's not Giolito every fifth day.
And that's
this
my
is
point
Scherzer fucking spring training every fifth day playoffs. Like he's like fucking spitting all over the place.
He's an angry fella on the mound.
Yeah,
and
I don't think that there's a comparison right now.
No, nope. There isn't.